CBT Modal Overview. Before we go into CBT Modal and proceed with the rest of the plan, I want you to capture your existing belief about anxiety on a piece of paper. In order to do that, try to answer the following questions as honestly as you can. 1. What's so bad about experiencing anxiety? 2. When you first notice anxiety getting intense, what goes through your mind about it? 3. How can anxiety interfere with your life? 4. What's the worst that can happen if you feel more and more anxious? Please don't proceed further without answering these questions first. You want to capture your existing belief about anxiety because this recovery plan will provide you with the tools that will change your existing beliefs given that you commit to the plan. This is a cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT-based recovery plan. CBT is the most effective and scientific way to treat anxiety-related disorders at the moment. Cognitive Model is a CBT model that addresses all levels of anxiety from the trigger to the reactions. We will be using this model to address your anxiety no matter how mild or severe it may be. Here is the cognitive model with some general examples. Don't get overwhelmed by the diagram. In the following steps, I will explain exactly, step by step, how to apply each part of the cognitive model in practice. But it's important to keep in mind that this diagram will be at the core of everything we do in this recovery plan, because anxiety's mechanism is very predictable and follows the same sequence from trigger to reactions. Ultimately, the goal of this recovery plan is to give you resources, tools, that you have to practice in order to minimize risks you presently have associated with anxiety. If you don't practice, you won't see any results. Risk-resource model of anxiety is a simple CBT formula that shows that the reason you feel trapped in anxiety disorder is because of the risks, imagined dangers, you have associated with anxiety outweigh the amount of resources, effective coping strategies, you currently have. Risks are all the what-if thoughts and negative interpretations you have about anxiety. Resources are learned, effective coping strategies that help you deal with anxiety without further fueling it. Thus, recovery formula is the reverse of anxiety formula. Once you have enough resources to address anxiety, the risks will slowly minimize and change the way you see any given trigger. The way it works is very intuitive. For example, when you don't know how to drive a car, you have more risks associated with that skill. So, when you sit in front of a steering wheel, you feel very anxious. However, as you start practicing, your resources start outweighing your risks and anxiety level eventually goes down until driving becomes effortless. Just like driving, recovery is a skill that you can learn by changing the way you see anxiety through experiencing.